So 2 questions for you. Why aren't we seeing that huge rapid rise in inflation? We've got the same petrol pressures with oil costs. And also, what are analysts saying about core inflation, looking through what they see as the extremes?
Well, we're in a slightly different economic position in Australia to America. So inflation there, it's 8.5% over 12 months. Here, it's at 3.5% in 2021. It's expected to jump a bit higher in the first quarter of this year, maybe around the 4%, potentially even higher. A couple of reasons. One thing is food prices in America have really gone up sharply, whereas in Australia, we've had some really strong agricultural seasons over the last 2 years, and that has kept food prices. They have gone up, but not as much as in the States. So that's one of the key reasons why inflation here is different. We're just in a slightly different economic situation as well. Our unemployment rate is pretty similar to the US. We're at 4%, about to probably go to 3.9% tomorrow. And what was the second part of your question, Laura?
About core inflation. So analysts do tend to look through the extremes, and there's been some talk around, if you take oil out of it, inflation is actually not that high. I mean, it doesn't matter. You're still paying it day to day. But I guess for analysts looking beyond this period with the Russia war.
Definitely. Look, core inflation in Australia, headline inflation's 3.5%, core inflation's about 2.4%, and the Reserve Bank wants to see it between 2% and 3%. And I think it's safe to say that core inflation here is going to rise higher than 2.4% in that March quarter. That's something the RBA will be looking at very closely. But obviously, core inflation does iron out those big rises and falls in things like petrol. So it sort of gives you a more consistent curve looking at inflation. But core inflation in Australia is still high. So 2.4 is a high number, and it's expected to go higher just in a couple of weeks when we get the new figures.
Ed, there's nothing you don't know, so thanks for asking those ones without notice. The stock market has just opened. We're expecting it to open lower, did it?
It didn't. The stock market's actually up today, so it's up 0.25% in early trade. I think the big thing today has been overnight oil prices jumped 6%, and oil companies are doing well on the stock market today, and that's given the market some support. So market's up 0.25%. It's a positive day for stocks. And the big economic news we'll get today is actually the Reserve Bank of New Zealand. They've got their cash rate decision. It'll be midday Australia time, and expect to see the cash rate in New Zealand go up by 0.25% up to 1.25%. So substantially higher over there than it is here.
Life's good. Ed, thanks so much. We'll speak to you soon.